Is this where it happens? Is this the standard?
Sometimes, yeah. Usually this isn't that far over, I have to say.
Don't know. I need to shut them up.
Good idea.
I know about women.
Ready?
Oh yes.
Welcome to Strategy Battle Gamers to another GBHL YouTube channel video. You're here with your host, GBHL James.
And GBHL Damian.
And we got it.
I was going to say, not GBHL Kieran.
Can't introduce yourself.
You can't introduce yourself.
Arrogant.
When you're not a host. Kieran!
There's no way of pleasing these people.
We're letting you go in the middle, is that not enough? I think that we should do what we did to Alistair and set him behind.
Yeah, just put him back a few feet.
Now this is a first today, because it is a speak friendly question, and it's a speak friendly question with GBHL James and GBHL Damian.
That is a first.
As Tom would probably say, GBHL Tom.
Pretty average.
The mouthy ones.
The gobby ones, yeah.
The gobby ones.
So this will probably be 4 hours long.
Hopefully not, because
we've got 3 questions and it's going to be 19 hours.
We've got a long journey to Scotland tomorrow.
Yeah, and we've got to be up early.
And I've got to be up early and stay up early and stay up late and stay up early because my force is finished.
Yeah, I'm very excited to be here. Thank you for having us. We're at Shay Clark or Shay Jane, depending on
where the magic.
I think it's Shay Jane, really.
Shay Dempsey. As you realise by tonight's hosting.
In Speak Friendly Question Land, it's quite exciting. I like it.
It's very exciting.
It's like culture exchange from when you came down for the Palantir.
Well, I can't believe I've not been allowed to be in a Palantir yet. I'm very jealous, and I'm going to review my efforts to try and get in it.
I forgot. Sorry.
Throw myself out my window.
You've been in rooms, but you haven't been in. You've been in the room, but you haven't been in the village.
I tried. It was all a little bit of a blur. I just remember answering questions about how rubbish CrossFit is.
Your reference. Your reference in this week's. There's your reference in the sketch.
Fantastic. That's what I like to hear. Any James news is good news. Okay, so it's Speak Friendly question, and the first question we'll give it to our guest host. I think today. Let's have Kieran.
Let's get into range for the honours. If you had to rename all the Hobbit and Lord of the Rings movies, what would you name them? You're not allowed to retain any of the official titles. I was definitely thinking that the third LSR would be War of the Ring, which incidentally was what Tolkien wanted to name it, but his publisher shut him down and wanted Return of the King.
True. I hope you enjoyed the first and last question that we'll get you to ask.
That's true. That's some good Tolkien knowledge. He
is, yeah.
He didn't like him. It was only split into 3 because of paper rations, and I think he liked Fellowship. He was kind of ambivalent about Two Towers, and he hated Return of the King because he thought it gave away the ending, which he does.
It does, yeah.
It's like calling the third Hobbit film. Maybe not.
I thought you were going to go there then.
Yeah. It's tricky. We've done that.
The death of.
A few times on the Palantir. It's like if you're doing the breakdowns, you need to talk about that stuff. So
a lot of us have read the books.
Yeah, you'd expect it.
But
that's
what's
a really
going to be
good
interesting is to see what actually.
Who does what?
Well, what changes? Because PJ's already said that he's going to make quite a few changes, and which ones he's going to stick to.
All the same people that I think. Yeah.
And more maybe. What do we think? Be interesting.
That's a really good question.
I like the War of the Ring for the last one. I agree with Tolkien.
The third one should be the War of the Ring. That makes perfect sense. I don't really like the Two Towers. The Two Towers doesn't make sense.
Well, it's ambiguous, isn't it? Which Two Towers?
Well, Tolkien never knew. Or it's not. He never 100% said, because there was talk that it was Minas Tirith and Minas Morgul. That was 2.
So then you've got the Tower of Orthanc and Barad-dûr.
Yeah, that's what Peter Jackson went with. Those are the film ones. In the film, it is solid. It's those 2, but in the book, and there's another. I can't remember what the other pairing was.
It could even be.
I think they said the mountain.
I mean, it depends how you view it, but it could be Minas Tirith and the Hornburg, because those are the 2 towers of resistance.
I think there was an argument that it might have been Mount Doom as well. Mount Doom and Baggin.
Maybe he almost purposely made it ambiguous. But what would you call them instead? Because I think the thing with two Towers is 2 stories. Well, it's almost 3 stories in fact, because you follow different journey. You've got the Fellowship and they're together, and then once you get to the 2 Towers, you've obviously got the 2 books, but you very much follow the story of the 3 hunters. You follow the story of Frodo and Sam completely separately, and obviously you've got the story of Merry and Pippin, which is slightly separate to the 3 hunters as well.
So if you pick a name for it, it's kind of got to affect.
It's very tough actually, I think, for the middle one. Very tough. without splitting.
I should have looked at these earlier.
We don't do research.
No,
this isn't the Parlantir with all of your notes.
I thought I was coming here for dinner and beer. I didn't think there was going to be like a test.
Well,
the second one of the Hobbits I changed. Desolation of Smaug I didn't like as a title.
Especially because you don't
a warm
actually
welcome,
see
maybe?
the Desolation of Smaug. I mean, I know that Dane is technically.
I suppose Lake Town as well, because that's a knock on from that, but.
Desolation of Smaug is the area, isn't it? It's not the. A lot of people saying that. Oh no, how can this be called Desolation of Smaug when he doesn't die? No, that's not what I mean.
Trolls. Yeah, really good question. Maybe we'll maybe we should bring it up as a Parlantir.
The second one. Like that's the name of the chapter when they get to Lake Town.
But I always liked the breakdown for the two movies. You know, you got There and Back Again.
There and Back Again.
There and Back Again, and An Unexpected Journey worked really well. When you make that to three.
Journey was good because An Unexpected Journey, I think now, even after like 3 years or 4 years since it was announced, that sounds like something that came from the book.
Yeah,
and it isn't. That is a PJ event. You know, you've got An Unexpected Party, but An Unexpected Journey isn't in the book anywhere.
Yeah, no, I'd agree with that. Desolation of Smaug, what would you call it instead?
Maybe something to do with Mirkwood.
It was quite. Yeah, it was quite.
Maybe. I'm not sure. Maybe something like The Rise of the Necromancer.
Yeah, maybe something.
Rise of the Necromancer's not a bad call actually, but then again, that storyline's not gone massively into in it. A lot of it is about.
I quite like the Power of the Three. That's the name of one of the tracks in the third film, which is obviously when the elves attack Sauron.
Yeah.
I think that's quite cool.
Yeah, very very good question. We will move on.
Didn't answer it.
This is you'll have to get used to that. That's what we do. Speak friend question.
Don't answer.
It's speak friend and skirt around the question until they might be happy with one of your suggestions as an answer. This is why we don't go. This is why you guys are commissioned with the in-depth discussion. So the next question is from a real-life Hobbit.
Me? Real Life Hobbit says, hey, being a fairly new subscriber, I was just wondering how long the channel has been going, because I've only recently got back in the hobby. I do have some older dwarf warriors, just wondering if you can combine them with Thorin's company, and what's the best combination? Keep up the great work, and well done on 2,100 subs.
Thank you very much. Well, some exciting news. The channel has been going for over a year, guys. Over a year. This has been going. So GBHL James originally set it up as a podcast to try and promote the Great British Hobbit League tournaments, which we continue to do, but in a slightly different form. Yeah. And now it's sort of promoting the hobby in general. I got involved in it just over a year ago, 13-14 months ago, and first met Damian at Preston.
Yeah,
I interviewed you and Tom Harrison. The original roving report.
Yeah, which I didn't really have any business being in. I remember that. Like,
but you got best painted
army, and then Tom won the tournament. You're not going to interview two, and you said it's the winners. Alright.
Yeah, winner in my eyes. So yeah, we go for a while. Thanks very much for your support. In terms of combining older dwarf warriors with Thorin's company,
not in the same list, not in the same warband.
You can ally them, but not in the same warband. So recommend always that if you're getting back into the hobby or you are a new player, that you try and pick up the source books, because the source books are key for army building, because they tell you how to build a warband.
If you want any Thorin's company leading warriors, it has to be Thorin, Balin and Dwarven, and they can lead the newer warriors, Warriors of Erebor and Grimhammer. If you want older warriors, you need an older hero. Such as
Murindra, Durin, that kind of thing, Dwarf Lord Dane.
What a lot of people do is take well, not a lot of people, but some people, if you want to do that, you take like an unnamed dwarf captain, leading your old dwarf warriors and your Isengard and Isengard, and then you take the named heroes leading them.
You could also take a dwarf king if you wanted to as well.
Yeah.
Even more people like to take the like the old profile of Balin, because it's much stronger.
Yeah.
With the strong sort of Durin's folk list like your Isengard, and then they like the fact that then you can back them up with dwarf warriors with spears from the army of Thor, and bring one of the newer profiles, and you combine the army, although you're allying 2 lists technically, because you need the hero from one army to lead the other troops.
And just a note on these source books, they are going off the shelves at the moment and out of production, but generally you can find them in your Games Workshop hobby centres. They've still got those on the shelves.
You also asked what's the best combination?
The best combination of dwarves?
Thorin's good. Thorin's very, very good. Anything defence 7. Or if this is coming from someone playing dwarfs, playing against dwarves. If I see an army defence 7, I'd cringe, because even your evil stuff with the strength 4 is going to have trouble killing it. So anything like that. Khazards are fantastic.
Khazards I've never seen do badly.
Khazards are an incredibly optimised troop type. They're cheap and they have all the right stats and all the right things.
Generally speaking, when I've seen Khazard and Isengard, I found that the Isengard have let the dwarves down, whereas the Khazard have held the line.
It's because they're defence 6.
They become the target.
Destroy them.
Because they become in a dwarf list where the primary strength of the dwarf list, which doesn't have too much movement and not a huge amount of killing power all the time, is they become the squishy ones. They become your targets, and they're an expensive thing to go down as well. So you can't think, wow, it's only 6s to shoot this with a strength by rollers, 6s by 4s on.
Floyd's good as well. Floyd's really frustrating to play against, because he's not only got the negating the enemy rule, he then he gets will back, doesn't he? If you kill a hero, or does he get a micro back? You always get him confused with Ori. He gets something back if someone kills a hero, then he writes it down, doesn't he?
I've not got a clue.
Hasn't he? I'm not making that up, am I?
Floyd?
Yeah, I'm sure Floyd's got
He
a
loses a
rule.
will point every time he bends a special rule.
Yeah, but then can't he get something back? I've never used him, I haven't played against him. I thought he had something like
Do we have the source books?
Nah,
We do, but we never reference those things in this.
it's in that bag over there.
It's just a Q&A.
There you go, it's right there in that bag, get that bag.
It's Q&A.
Possibly the best combination, might be worth saying, is what Callum Edams took to the last tournament, which was the first dwarf army that won, which was
Congratulations.
Thorin leading about 12 Warriors Variable.
Barlin?
Yeah, the old profile for Barlin and Floyd, and then about 24 Khazard and Isengard.
No, I don't think he had that many Khazard and Isengard. I should remember this because I played him.
I played him.
He had a couple of dwarf bowmen. Not that they seemed to do much, but he did have a couple of dwarf bows in there. He had a banner, crucially, especially against me, because that really was a swing turning point.
It's quite important for dwarves, I think, banners sometimes.
Yeah.
The King's Champion's very good as well.
King's Champion's very, very strong.
A couple of banners in there for free. Defence 9, he's a good leader.
And Shield Bearers, one of the first armies that Joe Horsfeld took this year, had a Shield Bearer, literally tore apart my lines.
That was at Mansfield, wasn't it?
Vulnerable to magic, but if there's no magic on the enemy side, they're really good.
They're good, they're all pretty solid. A lot of them.
So there you go, guys. Lots of in-depth answers about the dwarves. So next up we've got Sam Armstrong. Sam Armstrong's put, I've just got back into hobby because of you guys and really do appreciate it. Well, it's a pleasure, that's what we're here for. That's what we're here for. But don't appreciate the money loss, however. Well, you're clearly supporting your Hobbit hobby, which is what this is all about. Anyway, the question that I wanted to ask you was, who would you recommend as a leader for an Isengard army? I was thinking Saruman, but not sure. What do you think?
Yes!
It depends on what points you play it.
It does.
Depends on your points value and what army you want. There's a lot of good candidates for leaders in there. I'm going to a tournament this weekend and I've chosen to use Rasku.
At 800 points?
Yeah.
That's insane.
I say at 800 points.
Most people at 800 points would say you don't walk out of your tower without Saruman, but I've decided to go with 50 Armoured Urukai instead.
On an unrelated subject, I'm also going to a tournament this weekend with an 800 point Isengard army, and I've got Saruman as my leader.
So I guess we'll be able to compare notes on that.
So 50 Armoured Urukai?
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
I think the key discussion when you're talking about a leader for Isengard is, because a lot of people tend to think of it as, right, okay, what if you're not taking Saruman? Because if you take Saruman, you probably want him to be the leader because you're not using him for combat, but he can do things that are offensive but from the back. 3
ways, 3 fighters.
And he's got the 3s in a lot of the right places apart from attack.
Well, you've got to watch out for archers. I'm just saying.
Let's not remind people of it. It's Kieran gloating against somebody who he tends to beat all the time. Me and you. Well, we outnumber him. I think that we could take him. But I think a lot of the time when it comes to Isengard is people have to weigh up the decision between, do you take your, especially at lower points levels, are you going to use like your Vrasku who's in the back, or who's a lower defence of course, or are you using your captain, which can be high defense for your shield and armor, who you're using, you know, he's harder to kill, but you're using him to fight. So I think that's more interesting.
That's a really good point, because previously that's where my leader tends to be the heavily armoured Uruk with shield at the back, because you don't really need to commit him either. As long as he's using his might to direct the army, he doesn't need to be in the front line.
There's a choice between 3 might or defence 7, isn't it?
Yeah.
1 extra might or 2 extra defence.
What do you think?
You used Thryden as your leader in Stockport, didn't you? How did you find that?
Stockport. Was he my leader? No, Vrasky was.
Oh.
Because that's the other thing. If you're gonna, I think if you have Saruman, and my rule is always 700 points or more, he'll come in. Then he's your leader. Like, there's a no-brainer. If you don't have him, then it's normally Vrasky, because Vrasky can hide at the back for me. And I think I generally went for the extra might rather than defence 7, generally. But I didn't like having Thryden, because I thought Thryden seemed like a better leader than Vrasky. He's got the same defence, defence 5, he's got 2 wounds, only 2 fate, and that second fate might not do anything, and he doesn't get fury, and you want to chuck him in.
I was just saying, and it's the role, isn't it? And it's the problem that I always have with the Rohan army, is that, you know, the person that you want to make the leader is United the Pelennor, because you've got the 3s in the right places, but he's also the thing that you want to go and kick bum with, which means that he's vulnerable, and if he gets taken down, ultimately it's a scenario-based game, and that's where the victory points are.
The only thing that changed my opinion about Saruman was the last tournament, the Mansfield one, where I did put him in at 600 points, which I don't normally do, and I've done a tournament review about this so people know this, but I put him in essentially to stand a chance against Ed, and then Saruman won me a bunch of games. Like, that I might well not have won if I didn't have him in then, and then I lost the game to Ed. I thought it was kind of wonderful irony. But that kind of made me think, so I really didn't think he'd be that good, because at 600 points, he was 108. He's 180 on a horse. Yeah. That's a lot to make back. But it was against Goblin Town and Elves. He was blasting and blasting and blasting, killing just droves.
You tend to blast a lot with Sam, because
I don't normally, but in those games.
Normally the key spells, I'm guessing, are sort of mobilise and compel.
Yeah, mobilise and command are compel, isn't it? Game winners. No, mobilise is the best spell in the game.
Because obviously I've been having to think about that a lot, because I've been trying to paint up Isengard for. Still, it doesn't look like I'm going to get my Saruman mounted painter. He's a lovely model, so I want to do him justice. He's beautiful.
Get Saruman. He's awesome.
He's beautiful. So there you go.
He's also a dual model, because you can use him as Saruman the White for your good armies when he's even better.
The gift that keeps on giving. Next question. Next question is from Randy England.
She?
Sorry, my eyes are not as good as the other two.
Go on, it's okay. Let's get Damian. We'll get you. You can answer them.
Randy England says, "Hi guys, this is my first ever question. What's you got to do, James?"
You're in the loop now. Okay, Jamie's not here to tell you about what the loop is, but the loop basically means that now that you've asked a question. Whoa, none of that Palantir magic here.
Some southern.
Get rid of it. Do you not know who could be watching?
It's good. Palantir go.
I'm just as much there with you. I've watched all of the bad stuff. Now that you've asked one, you got to ask one next week. That's the key thing.
But we might be here. He says, "This is my first ever question. What do you prefer the design of better, the original Haldir's elves or the more recent Galadrim elves?" The Galadrim elves for me. No contest for me, it's the plastic Galadrim.
You prefer the plastic Galadrim than the new releases over the old metal Haldir's elves?
Yeah.
I'm completely the other way around.
I know most people are. I never got, because I've got a bunch of the metal ones at home, and people are like, "I can have them." I was like, "Yeah, they're alright." I never really got it. I think the Galadrim and the Galadrim Knights are one of the best plastic kits they got.
I will admit, I do like the armoured Galadrim horses, but my issue with the actual elves is that they just look really plasticky. There's just some character missing from them, to the point that I've been tempted to take Galadrim Knights, chop off the plastic heads and stick metal ones in their place. But that's quite an expensive conversion.
I think it's a really nice kit. It's the best. Wasn't it the first Lord of the Rings plastic kit where you got some posability on them as well? They're very dynamic for the.
And you've got lots of different weapon options as well, don't you? So I will give them that, It's
all the heads are separate, that's it. All the heads are separate, so you can kind of swap them around. Yourself?
I like the metal ones. I do like the metal ones.
I'm in the minority in this.
I like the metal ones.
Do you know that the metal ones ruin the spoilers for a lot of people?
For Helm's Deep.
The being elves, because they released all this stuff. They released the list of releases before the film came out, and so it had Haldir's elves. And everyone was like, whoa.
Where are these going?
Why the hell are those elves in the 2000s?
How interesting. How interesting. There you go, you learn something every day. With Damian in the Palantir.
You know what, Earl? I know an answer to a question. Someone from a couple of weeks ago. Someone asked about the goblins being outside and chasing in the front of the Moria Amber.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
The
Yeah,
goblins in daylight.
Yeah, it's them. They ran out of Moria and the goblins then chased them into Lothlorien and the elves attack them and they filmed it. And there's actually...
That's not even in the extent. That's not
Not in the extended. There's a shot, I think, in the Fellowship, the original Fellowship book, so not the Journey book, the rule book, and it was a very commonly used publicity shot of a lot of elves with dead goblins in Lothlorien with arrows in them, and they were going to chase them into Lothlorien. The elves were then going to rescue them, and then that Haldir kind of finding the company has basically done what the elves do in Desolation of Smaug. You know, come and save them,
Yeah.
and then drawn their bows on them. Because it's in one of the, you see the best you can see of it. There's a little bit of footage of it on YouTube somewhere. The best you can see of it is in one of the computer games, the like third person games that they did for the Two Towers, Return of the King. There was a level of it, and it started with that stuff from the film.
That is cool.
Watch this tiny little mini scene. It's not all of it's in there, but they ran it. Very first Lord of the Rings trailer, I think, has got a shot of Legolas turning around and like pointing back at the camera and shooting an arrow at the camera, and it's in Lothlorien. You can see the Fellowship legging it.
Wasn't that going to be where he fired his arrow and then behind him loads of arrows from the other wood elves came out or something like that?
Yes, yeah. I think so.
Jamie Giblin, you are sacked. Right, so next question.
Well, so there's a job opportunity coming up.
Sorry?
Just asking.
He runs the channel. He posts the stats and everything.
He's the mega mind.
So next up we've got Howard Torrier, and he's put, "Hey GBHL team, sort of related to my last question. How well do you think your Saga forces would compare against the SBG forces of a similar size? Would the Anglo-Danes smash up the Woes Elves, all-mounted Rohan riding down Saxons, Viking Berserkers versus Uruk-hai Berserkers?" As always, thank you for your hard work. Hopefully you two are back together on this one. No, we're not.
Very much not.
Jamie's actually making his own way up to Scotland.
Oh, he's climbing.
He's climbing to Scotland. He's
He
going
started
with James Braund and a couple of others, isn't he? So you have to make do with us. Have you looked at Saga at all? Was that anything that interested you?
Obviously I didn't enjoy it. I don't want to be negative, but if I'm brutally honest, I didn't really get it. When I was playing, there's no like Jamie won our game because I didn't. He was several steps ahead of me in what he should be doing. I was like, "No, that," and the guy kept going, "Why are you doing that?" I'm like, "I don't know." Using my point. But, it's not my period.
No, it's not about you. Have you looked into it at all?
I only started looking at it this week because I went round to Myrtle's house.
He's into it, isn't he? Yeah.
Yeah, and we'd been trying to sort out some Battle Company stuff, and I went round to his house to play a bit of that. And he had his Saga stuff out because he'd been playing Tom Macklin. So all I really know about it is that at some point in the game you pick up a load of runic dice, cast them, and then that's like casting your runes, and then you need to allocate various dice to like what abilities you want to use.
Orders, yeah. You get orders based on how you build.
They were saying that they played 2 games. The first game was really close, really hard fought and really fun. The second one was a bit of a whitewash because they changed lists and one of the lists had just stormed through the other one, and maybe they're getting used to the tactics and stuff as well, but certainly looks interesting. I'll definitely have a look at the rulebook.
In terms of the question, so based on what you've put here, how well would the Saga Force compare against the Lord of the Rings Middle-earth equivalent? I would say that Middle-earth wins all day long. An Uruk-hai Berserker.
Yeah, but it can't, I've got a dirty cop-out answer. It kind of depends how you're doing it, doesn't it? Because surely if you have to use one rule set if you're going to play a game, and then they would be like, the Anglo-Danes would be pointed and stat lined, I don't know, like Rohan warriors. So they might be less points than say a Reaver or a Berserker, but you'd be able to get more of them. So there'd just be another kind of troop type.
Anglo-Danes wouldn't smash up the Woes Elves in either. If you try to make equivalent of rules and stuff like that, it's because.
Well, that's because Rohan warriors wouldn't smash up the Woes Elves. That's what
I don't even think it's because of that. I think it's because there's more complexity to the Hobbit and Lord of the Rings strategy battle game. So with Saga, the way that it works is that you've effectively got effectively 4 different troop types. And you've only got one stat, and your one stat is defence. So if you've got Hearthguard, they're effectively defence 5. If you've got warriors, they're defence 4. And then you levies are defence 3, and they give you orders and stuff like that. But there's so much more complexity to the Hobbit game, and you try and think of ways that you would implement that into a Saga system. It would make them more powerful because they're more rounded. They can do more. Woes Elves versus Anglo-Danes. They're going to be able to shoot them. They're going to have some kind of advantage in terms of some kind of +1 thing going on there.
Yeah, but surely if you're playing the same, if you've been able to play it in the same game, then you wouldn't be using the rules from one.
No, of course not. But then let's talk about it from sort of like a fun point of view rather than like which system you would play.
So like a more conceptual point of view, as if you had an army of
So for example, the Anglo-Danes don't have fell beasts.
The Anglo-Danes don't have fell
They
beasts.
lose.
The Anglo-Danes don't have magic unless they get their gods to help them.
Exactly. An Orokai Berserker.
I think they'd all just surrender.
An Orokai Berserker is probably going to take down most normal sort of human warriors of any era, apart from me, with a machine gun. That's right. So next up,
we have 19 Mark F91.
We've got we've got this guy here.
We have Cernshaw. Is that? Yeah. Cernshaw. Replacement son. Hi guys, I'm recently getting back into the hobby, and a big deciding factor was your channel, so thank you for that. Not a problem. I'm currently repainting my Dwarven army, which is one of the old school variety, i.e. well before the Hobbit stuff came out, and want some advice on it. Should I get a warband or 2 of the new stuff, as the old stuff still seems pretty decent? I'm also currently building a Helm's Deep themed Rohan force, i.e. no Sons of El, good lad, and Marshal Riddermark, etc. I was wondering if it was still possible to be competitive. Thanks a lot, keep up good work. We would direct you to our question of but 10 minutes ago about the dwarfs.
Old dwarves are
very good.
They're solid, especially for beginners, because they're quite forgiving.
Yeah. I would get in warband new stuff because I think the new models are gorgeous.
The
models don't wait for like 2 weeks and then get a warband of the new stuff. Because there'll probably be some incredibly expensive fine cast dwarfs coming out that will be able to do something. So get them.
But if you did want to just stick with the old metal models, there's nothing wrong with the old sets that were out there, the Shadow and Flame kind of era. You might have to mix in a few of the newer heroes like Floy or maybe Durin, it depends what flavour you're going for, but there's plenty there.
No, that's good. And in terms of a Helm's Deep themed Rohan force, is it possible to be competitive? Yeah, sure. Depends what you're up against, what kind of player you are. There's one thing, I don't know if you guys agree with me, but SBG does lend itself, there's an element of list building which can be quite important, but you tend to find that better players will still pull through, even with a less competitive list sometimes.
Tom Harrison took the...
Let's not talk about Tom Harrison.
No?
Not in this context. It's like rubbing our context. It's like rubbing our faces in the Theodenness of his of his lists.
You do have to admit, the man takes Theoden to a tournament and doesn't, instantly lose. It's
Theoden,
like a miracle.
He didn't do that. Theoden and Merry and Pippin.
So the Hobbits will disbalance this.
It's at 1,000 points. Took Theoden, Merry, Pippin. He didn't take Erkenbrand, so he had no Westfold Red Shields. He took Gandalf the White as well, and then a bunch of Gondor stuff, and he came second in that tournament. That's the result of the year. Like, that result didn't get enough praise.
I don't think we should talk about it.
That was the 1,000 point tournament where I was using 7 models.
Good tournament, that. Very good tournament, that. Liked that one.
Didn't you win that one? Good job, I got a good memory.
Yeah, you can certainly be competitive. Do you know how you can be competitive? If you want to be able to theme Helm's Deep Force, put some elves in. Your elves in the back with the spears. So classic.
So next up we got 19 Mark F91. He's put, hey guys, Snog, marry, avoid. This is a Damian question. Snog, marry, avoid. Arwen, Eowyn, and Tariel. I refer you to Damian under the Eye of Sauron. We practically did this.
Yeah, there is a tricky, because that was just simply Tariel or Eowyn, wasn't it?
No, because I changed it partly.
Tariel and Arwen.
It started off with Arwen and Eowyn, and then whichever one you chose from Arwen and Eowyn, it went to versus Tauriel. And that's when you went diddly.
Obviously Tauriel. But that doesn't make that. I mean, that's tricky. I would be avoid Eowyn. She's a bit moany. She's a bit desperate.
Yeah.
And then,
especially in the books, actually, it's a very dark character. Actually, there's some dark elements to her.
She wouldn't be fun to live with.
No.
Probably Snog Tauriel, because she's kind of fiery. I think she'd be quite passionate. And then marry Arwen. I think your relationship with Tauriel would be a bit tempestuous. That wouldn't be a kind of, wouldn't be a settling down. That'd be.
Have you thought about this before?
No more than normal. You can win. You can win a date to be Evangeline Lilly's date to the premiere. That's how you get to see it.
Yeah.
She's running a competition.
Oh, is she?
Enter.
I just had a picture of myself.
Yeah, that'll do it. I think Tauriel will become like hard work. She's always running off. Like I think Snog Tauriel.
Do extra hobby time.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, that's good.
What do you
And
do?
then marry Arwen. I think. It's really
Definitely avoiding Eowyn, just on the basis that she strikes me as she's got some issues.
Oh, she does.
No, but
She's got baggage.
I think I'd snog Arwen just on the basis that Liv Tyler might revert to like a normal accent, and marry Tauriel. Also, every time you walk into the living room, or she walks into the living room rather, and you hear that music, how epic would that be? It's like, do you want a cup of tea? Sure.
Well, there's only one right answer here. I'm going to get married next year, so I'd avoid them all.
Oh, don't. That's such a dirty cop out.
I'd avoid them all and unite. Next up, we got Kurt Leach. I'll let you ask this one, because you're going to enjoy it.
Where's the
This will be your first time being able to do this on channel. It's a historic moment.
I have no question this week, but all I have to say is Cha-cha Master!
Cha-cha Master! Cha-cha-cha-cha-cha-cha-cha. Thank you very much for giving us happiness in our lives.
Not sure on the spot. Close brackets.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
He vanished, didn't he?
You can think Cha-cha Master and it's spelt right. That's all that matters. The inference is enough. We miss Cha-cha Master. Where are you, Cha-cha Master? He could be dead.
Yeah,
Not to go completely dark, but you would never know.
The only reason he wouldn't comment on one of your videos was if he was dead.
Well, yeah.
Meanwhile, in
I
Barad-dûr.
haven't asked a question in weeks.
You haven't?
No.
Yeah, but that's because you've got a show now. You've got a different way of
I
interaction.
had good answers about that Moria thing, and I wanted to ask about the pirate Lego, and I was doing a bit of pain and go ask a question.
Have you got a question? You could ask a question live.
Nah.
Get thinking. Get thinking. By the end of it, you can both ask a question live on Speak Friend and Question.
I have a question. You got any more beer?
That's a good question.
I think we've got some crabbies, if you want the crabbies. Next up we've got Ryan McGinn. He's put, hey guys, thanks for answering my question. Non-SBG question for both of you today. Do either of you play any instruments? If so, what instruments? That's a good job you're here. Both of you actually. Because you might. And if you have time for just one more, James, what was in your 800-point Isengard for us? Hoping the two of you are well, keep up the great work. I don't play any instruments at all. However.
Okay, I play the piano. Started it ages ago when I was about 14, I think, and did it for a while, dropped kind of out of it while I was at uni in college, and when I started working I got an electric keyboard for Christmas and started playing that again. And because I've recently moved back home, I've been reunited with it, and actually had to help my little bro pass his piano exams. So getting some practice in again. Next up, I want to try and start learning how to play the guitar.
That's a segue right there. Because I can play.
Hang on, no Palantir phrases allowed.
I didn't know I was doing it. That's come out more from you. I'm not saying I don't say it, but
I know, it's fine,
I don't know about it. Yeah, I do, whatever the answer is, play guitar, and I can play the bass. And I started that when I was about 17 or something, and kind of largely self-taught, and got to the point where I was distinctly average, and played in a bunch of bands over the years, and quite enjoy it. I hadn't touched them in like 4 months since we were in his house, but I got my guitars out the other day, and about a couple of weeks ago I learned to let it go. I need to get that sorted. I can also play the trumpet.
You can play the trumpet.
I am grade 3. Well, I got to grade 3 on the trumpet. Whether or not I can still play the trumpet is I could play all sorts of Christmas carols on the trumpet if you like.
I'm incredibly jealous.
My brother's learning the trumpet, and Alistair can play it.
Really?
And he apparently started learning to play the trumpet because trumpet music features quite heavily in the Lord of the Rings scores.
Yeah.
Damn you talented people. It's like that Tom Harrison. I know we don't like to talk about him.
Do you have the sheet music for Frozen?
No.
I was going to say, if you do, I can pick up the piano piece.
No, I don't. I just sat there and worked out what the chords are.
Have I told you the story about how I messaged Tom Harrison about the fact that I was looking for some Lord of the Rings music to put in the background of the videos, and he was just like, hold on 2 minutes. And he sent me a message, that included him. He basically just recorded himself within 2 minutes. I could hear the footsteps of him walking to the piano, and he just started playing like a Rohan-esque. It wasn't even the actual score. It was Rohan-esque music. Just went down and did it, and he was like, "Yeah, just chuck something together in my mind just now in the last 3 seconds because I'm super goddamn talented."
He's at his parents' house. They've got a big grand piano. We stayed there a night last year before Preston tournament. We stayed there. He just sounded.
It's awesome, isn't
What the
it?
hell are you doing? Oh, just a bit of piano.
I'm pretty average. No, you're not.
Couldn't play this
He knows
morning,
all
you
the
know,
main things.
just started working out the chords.
And if you have time for just one more, James, what was in your 800-point article? Nothing at the moment. With
Materials
hours
in
to go.
mind.
To be fair, an ink wash, and they're not too far off, to be honest.
Just to check then, for this weekend, are we all using Isengard for evil?
Yep.
I think that's for winners, clearly. Yeah, that's right.
What have you got?
It's not quite the 2/3 ferals berserker thing. It's a third feral berserkers, a third shield and sword uruks, and a third crossbows, brasku, captain with shield and heavy armour. I'm sure we've got a speak friend and question FAQ regarding generally how to build an Isengard list. A shaman. Well, I was going to do Saruman and Greener, of course, but there's no way I'm going to get that painted. So there is a Witch King on Felbeast downstairs, which just needs gluing. Do you think that will work as an Isengard person?
What, Witch King?
Will it fulfil the right kind of role within that force?
What's his stats?
I max him out to fill the points up.
What's that, 312?
320.
It's 20, isn't it? Sorry,
23,
I'm talking about 12.
323.
Yeah, no, he doesn't get the free one every turn, but then you'd keep Saruman out of combat, so any combat that the Felbeast does would be a bonus. If you come up against a wizard, he can snap his stick.
Harbinger of Evil's always good. You know,
Might work.
taking away the courage, yeah.
It might not though.
It's not an Isengard list though.
It's not, is it? It's not. It's not.
Who would take the Witch King in an Isengard list? It's a scumbag.
Hang on a minute. Didn't you win a 1,000-point tournament doing that exact same thing?
No, that was pure Isengard. Pure Isengard.
Okay, so next question. Oh, well, this guy, I'm sure he's a friend of yours.
He's a friend of the planter.
So
he
got
will
a young
expect
monk.
this. Yeah, David Whittaker.
Do you want a drink while you're reading it out?
Yeah.
Do you want, there's no beer left, but there's a Krabby's like an alcoholic ginger beer.
I've got a suspicion there's an extra goblin in the fridge. Do you want to see if he's still there?
Yeah, he is there. Go on.
It's like the beer review. We do the mug review. David Whittaker says, sorry to confuse you last week, James. It's very easily confused. I met sans axes, as in without axes. Good sans knowledge there. That's why your Gil sans is a font. It means without. It's like without serif. Serif, sans serif, no serifs.
I'm just smiling and nodding.
Good typography knowledge there. Great answer anyway. I was just considering Corsairs, but prefer the look of Reavers with swords over axes. Good lad. I also wondered if you had any thoughts on Corsairs in general. They seem very brittle for 8 points apiece, but the models have really grown on me lately. Topical question, which of the new leaked minis do you want to get most? For me it's got to be mounted leather with Orcus. What a beast. I'm going to hold out for Thranduil on his Doom moose. Thank you. Fingers crossed.
What's the question?
So 2 questions. Thoughts on Corsairs in general. They're very good. They're stupid. They're men who are 5'5", which is ridiculous.
Well,
The
those are
Reavers.
the Reavers, not the
I was-
Corsairs themselves.
I always ask
He's
that
had
question.
Reavers, isn't
Which was
Yeah.
Oh, Corsair Reavers, yeah.
He says
Corsairs
prefer look
in
of
general.
Reavers. He's just talking about Corsairs. Sorry, I'm saying.
So the Corsair army overall, you've got really high defense crossbows if you can find the models, because they're not that common and really expensive generally. You've got, they have access to Taskmasters, don't they?
It's a bosun, isn't it?
Bosun.
But the bosun's no.
He's a banner.
He's a banner.
Okay.
He's a banner without might, I think, isn't it?
Cheap though, very cheap. 45 points, is he?
Something like that.
45 points.
One thing that I noticed the other day, because someone was asking about it in battle companies, every single Corsair's got a throwing weapon. So that could potentially be of use, a bit like the all-infantry Rohan army, or the one that Jamie's on about anyway.
Yeah, the thing is that they're very cheap. They're very cheap, and they can do a lot for not a lot of points.
They're great models. I'd love to see, you don't see a lot of them about. I'd like to see, you always just get Reavers. I'd like to see a kind of Umbar army, like a full-on thing.
But and again, it comes down to that thing of, you know, it's the same reason why you'll take ferals, is because why would you take that when you can take something for a point or two more that's so much better.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, which is
they're good, but you know, you take them if you really want a Umbar themed army. You wouldn't take them if you want to be competitive.
Have any of you fought against Damian before? I've not. How did you do?
Played against him at East Grinstead. I think he kept chucking bombs at me. I think I was immobilising him with someone at the time.
It's like throwing the transfix, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, he wasn't all that good. He is good, but he wasn't all that good against me.
I've heard he struggles because he's got one might point, is that it?
Yeah, it was more that he wasn't get his rules just didn't come off for him in the game against me with the throwing weapon.
And
which new minis are you most looking forward to?
Well, looking at the latest release,
we discussed this at length in this week's Palanta.
Yeah, I can imagine, and I did a quick little sort of leak.
So, got a lot of hits.
Yeah, those videos do. Great content. I know that you like that phrase.
Good content.
Do you know what? Which ones I liked the most was the two models that I weren't expecting, which was the Mirkwood Cavalry.
Yeah.
Out of all of them, I actually thought that those were the best two.
Expensive though.
Very expensive what they are, and I won't be getting them. And that's not because of that. It's just because I've got loads of things to smash
stuff to
I did like Thranduil on horse.
I was going to say Thranduil. I think if I could only get one release, I'll probably go for Thranduil.
The Thranduil was really nice.
He's not, as you've seen on Friday, and I've discussed at length, he's not perfect for me, and it's annoying that he's not an elk, but I think the model on the horse is amazing.
Yeah,
it's stunning.
Very nice.
Yeah, but I also really like the Mirkwood Armoured Captain.
Yeah,
I think he would make really good Thranduil. I said this, he looks more like Thranduil than the Thranduil model does.
Well, I had to when I saw it, there was a bit of me that was looking and I was thinking, hang on a minute. But I do, and you know, we don't like negativity on the channel. I do like the Mirkwood.
Don't watch the one.
I do like the Mirkwood troops.
They're really nice.
They're
the models are gorgeous.
They're really nice, and I don't even have a massive problem with resin that lots of people got a historical problem with. I actually think some of the new resin is brilliant.
The Hobbit, the Destination Smaug Finecast models were vastly better than the plastic models, I think.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Thranduil and Alfred and the Master were gorgeous.
Look at that White Council. Look at that White Council. The resin models for the White Council are fantastic.
They're Finecast as well.
I won't be putting an army together of it, because if it had been a plastic, the thing with me is that I loved them, and if I didn't have an army and I liked it, I would buy them no matter what the cost. I would support it. I would go for it. The thing with me is, as someone who has got a couple of already preferred armies, I might have, if it was a plastic box set, gone and bought a box or two of them with a couple of leaders. And the problem with the clamp packs is that someone like me who really likes the hobby, supports the hobby, it just pushes me out from wanting to do that.
One of the issues I've got, I mean, I've seen the Mirkwood Cavalry, they're my favourite of what I've seen so far. Like, I'd happily go and buy those. I may go out and buy enough of them to give Thranduil like an escort or something. But it's the fact that because they're the Finecast 2 models, there's only 2 poses of them. If that had been a plastic kit, there would have been 6 poses, room for conversions, you know.
The knights are gorgeous. You know what annoys me as well, what really bugs me, is that if you look at the wider shots in White Dwarf, they've painted too. That annoys me more. It's more the not the sculpting effort, it's the time effort on their part. They're not painting armies anymore. They paint enough of models, so they've painted 3 archers and 3 spearmen. And you see like Thranduil riding to war with his knights, and there's 3 models in it. You know, because they've only painted 1 of each, and it's more that it's not very inspirational. It's like, oh god, that looks awesome. Maybe.
When I was younger, I was really disappointed because it was when I sort of discovered that White Dwarf, they actually used to like copy images, like you're saying. They paint 2 models and spread them out. Because the old Imperial Guard Codex has a massive Imperial Guard army, and I thought at the time that someone had painted every single model in it. And then, like a couple of weeks later, I found a White Dwarf where you can see half an elf. The rest of the elf is just cut out of the shot because through the editing they just got it wrong, and it's just because they just copy and paste all the pictures.
That's well cool. I didn't know that.
This is like the inverse of it now. You know? So, you know, painting 6, then painting 4 of them out.
Are you going to buy some new stuff?
I'll get it all.
Probably. Yeah.
I think I'll get it all except Legolas. I've said this, I plan to, but I'm annoyed for a bunch of reasons. I'm worried for a bunch of reasons, but I still love the models and I love the game, and I'll get 1 warband out. The saving grace is that because it's Battle of 5 armies, the points values mean that you really only want 1 warband.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll get 1.
Yeah. That's the thing. You would do it to get a warband.
Yeah, I'll get a warband of elves. I'll get the heroes.
You do it to get a warband. Okay, so I hope that answers your question. Next question is from Peter Sanson. He's put
that on to me.
So, Peter Sanson? You had David Whittaker, didn't you?
Ah, of course.
Okay, so next up we've got Peter Sanson. He's put, so there are people in the world that are not Star Wars fans. I've always heard about it, but never really believed it. Anyway, let's talk SBG and I want to show you guys something. You guys have seen it. This is what the awesome Jane Dempsey has got for me for an advent calendar this year, because of course my body is such a temple. I don't eat chocolate, hardly ever. So therefore,
that's how I feel.
How good is this? This is a Star Wars Lego advent calendar. Now, Jane also did make the mistake of leaving the receipt in the packaging, and it did make me sort of bleed a little inside with a wedding coming up.
It's about 30 quid.
Yeah, for an advent calendar.
It's like it alright.
Yeah.
I know about
for an
that.
advent calendar.
So you don't have to.
They go over to Bargain Madness over there, get an advent calendar for 50p. Do you know what I mean?
You know, that could
But
be
this
like a
is
box
this is
of
different, isn't it? This is like a gift in
I
itself.
like Santa Vega. That's cool.
How good is that?
Is that the 24th?
There we go. He is. He's the main character. I love Star Wars. I did say to Jane that what she should have done is contacted Jamie, because he might have a way of getting this cheap.
I bet you would.
He might have. So in the future, Jane. There we go. But I agree with you. Star Wars is for you. Are you Star Wars fans?
Not really. I'm one of these people. I like him. I don't dislike him. I'm kind of Star Wars ambivalent, to be honest.
Just out of curiosity, Star Trek?
No.
Yes, no? No, okay.
I'm a fantasy guy.
I've always been a Star Wars fan. When I was a lot younger, I read through the Rogue Squadron books and the Thrawn trilogy. I recommend having a look at both. If you pick up the first one, if you like the first one, you like the rest. Oddly enough, earlier today I was playing Star Trek Attack Wing. One of my friends who lives in Liverpool is a massive Trek fan. I'm more of a Star Wars fan, but because I like playing X-Wing, he likes playing Attack Wing. What we do is we alternate. So he gives me excuse to get my Rebels out, he plays the Imperials, I play the Federation, and then he can use his Romulan fleet. And yeah, everyone gets something, everyone wins.
Well, Peter Sanson's put in. Anyway, let's talk SBG instead. Because we could talk Star Wars for hours. Well, I could anyway. I like Star Wars. I'm not as much of a fan of it as I am Lord of the Rings, so I'll have to say. He's put, my main army is dwarves, and since a dwarf army has won a tournament
Dwarves
now...
are popular this week, aren't they?
They are, yeah. What does it take for a dwarf army to win? He's put, what does it take for a dwarf army to win? What are their drawbacks in tournament settings, and what are the must-haves and don't ever take for dwarves? In my opinion, dwarves with shield for shielding against spear lines and banners, give your hazards to attack to win, are some of the must-haves. Do you agree? Well, in terms of... Well, one of the things that Jamie said about this last tournament, and it's not taking anything away from the tournament winner, everything went right at the right time, and that can be true of any kind of tournament winner.
That
with
has
any
to
army.
be true of any tournament.
Of any tournament winner, it has to be. So let's just put that out there first. But in terms of the draw, in terms of the key rolls at the key times, which again is the same as with everything, because dwarf armies in the past have done well, but never seem to sort of have had enough to go the extra mile, especially in the last sort of.
Yeah, but that army won because Callum played it really, really well over the 2 days. He, we've talked about it fairly at length already in this about what he had and stuff, but I think
because James said it was nothing. It was nothing special in terms of the army. It was a pretty standard dwarf army. He's a good player.
Yeah, he's a very good player. He knows what he's doing with it, and it won. And as we said, that's one of the benefits of SBG that I think any army can win if you use it right. Tottenham coming second in that army with in that tournament. The thing.
We're not talking about that.
I've said, I've pondered doing a video in the past about like winning an event and actually talking about what it needs, and you need to be able to play. You need a decent army to be able to play, but you need luck. You need so much luck. You need luck in the draw to come up against the right people at the right scenario, and you need luck in the games. Like, yes, of course you need to be able to play well. Of course you do, but more of it is about who you get drawn against in which game.
Yeah.
And that's not about what you did. That's about what they did in their previous games.
Yeah.
And just a note on the must avoids or things to never take. I don't actually believe in the game that there is like a situation of there is a unit that never has a use, because we've had situations where people have taken stuff that's classically been thought of as.
You're trying to think of something now that you would never ever take, aren't you, Damian?
I was, but the first two I came up with, I disagree with them. So maybe not.
It's like if no one ever takes it, no one ever expects it, and thus the meta isn't prepared for it, and then someone comes out with it and storms through a load of lists because no one ever thought that anyone would be stupid enough to use it.
Rohan Archer's on foot.
Okay, well, situations where there's not an identity.
But no, you're right. The thing, even like
one shoot value better.
Rohan Archer's on foot is a pointless thing because Outriders the same amount of points.
Palace Guard, they are still good. Like they're massively overpointed, and people say they're not. This is a good example of your point. I'm saying you shouldn't take them, but you should, because then if you can't, I had an Elf army and I played against Palace Guard, and suddenly his Palace Guard smashed me because higher fight. So yeah, no, I agree. It's good. It's a good system like that.
So yeah, in terms of must-haves and don't-have takes, I don't think there are any. I think Old Dwarves in particular is a very well-rounded list.
If I was to fight a dwarf army, what I'd like to see is Rangers. Like you see Rangers, you see Spearmen and models without shields. Anything where you're going to get to defence 5 or 6. That's, I would say, what you would avoid in a dwarf.
See, I have heard some people argue that you need to take dwarf rangers over dwarf bowmen on the basis that people can't outrange you. If you end up fighting wood elves, then you're both winning on 5s. You've got an equal amount of range.
But then the opposite argument is that if then you try and play to counter your opponent's strength in an area where you're weaker anyway, you're still going to have to chase the game and get into combat. Because that's where you're probably going to be winning the war.
Defence 7 is a hideous thing to do. That's what your must-haves are. Defence 7.
So next up we've got Ryan McConnell,
who says, "I think it means turtle," as a quote from GBHL James 2014. That was very funny. That was a very funny quote.
I couldn't hear it.
It was.
My hearing's not great.
Is it Tom Turtle?
Yeah.
Who gave the long description of what his name is, and then Jamie goes, "I think it means turtle." It was a very good quote. So guys, here we go again. With the leaked images being released, I was wondering what your guys' thoughts were on the first releases. Not just the look, but the costs and decision to have 3 offsets. Thanks guys for all the great content. Keep up the exceptional work. Watch the plan, Tiff. What I think.
Yeah, no, not a plug for the other show, but.
Well, I don't want to sap more time from this.
Yeah. We've actually been doing this for 54 minutes. It's pretty good, and we're about
It's a 3-way conversation.
halfway through the questions. And some good in-depth answers as well. And we've already talked a little bit about the prices and what we think.
I would have liked to have seen cheaper prices, more poses, and a couple of the things that are coming out in plastic kits. But it wasn't really a surprise following from Desolation. And GW are their own business. If they choose to do something in their own way, then that's their call. But
I'd say there's part of me that was expecting, or is expecting, because I think they must have prepared for 2 movies.
Yeah, of course I did.
So I think there is still going to be a plastic release for part of this last bit.
It's possible, but they prepared for 2 movies when it ended at the end of the Barrelscope. So the Mirkwood Rangers and the Palace Guard are in the first film. That's why they're plastic. Everything done since then, so as in from the second film onwards, has been fine cast. So they would have sculpted them before, they would have sculpted the plastics, the elves, before An Unexpected Journey came out. The Lake Towners, the Gundabads, the new armoured stuff, everything from that is done after that, when they've got an idea of sales figures. Since the Hobbit range has been on sale, there have been no plastic sculpted. Is the depressing news. One light at the end of the tunnel that I potentially heard is someone suggesting that the elves you've just seen released were actually originally sculpted as the prologue elves. So they just held them back, and so they're not actually the main release. I don't particularly believe that, but
that's wishful thinking.
It's possible. And the rules are in White Dwarf. We haven't talked about that. That was after the Planet. The rules are coming out.
In White Dwarf.
Not this week. There is a supplement, a free supplement being released with White Dwarf 46, which will contain the rules.
Which
And
will be every
hang on a minute, so that means that
probably no source book. That's my feeling. I don't want to be all gloomy, but
mind you,
I didn't know this. You shouldn't have done this live on camera.
When they released the Imperial Guard Codex just before 7th edition 40k, they had a kit come out for Astra Militarum, which is the Stormtrooper block. And you opened up the White Dwarf that week, and it had the rules for their new tank.
It's not the same though. Like loads of the White Dwarfs at the moment, like Nagash, put the rules in White Dwarf in the week they come out, and then release a book.
Yeah.
That isn't this. Like the rules for the elves, when this will go out on Sunday, the rules for the elves aren't in this week's White Dwarf, but there's a thing that says the rules for these will be in a supplement that comes free or something in White Dwarf 46, which is the one that comes out on the 13th. It's the movie weekend, and it's a weird phrase because it says a supplement in, and it implies that maybe that weekend is going to be like a Space Hulk or a Dreadfleet kind of special. And I think the rule, I haven't said this on camera because we didn't know it when we recorded the Planet, but I think the White Dwarf that comes out on the 13th will be your lot. That'll be the Battle of 5 Armies rules. Because otherwise they'd put the elf releases in this week and then whatever gets released. And there might be, I mean, still bear in mind that White Dwarf is 36 pages. If they do the whole thing, that could still be a good thing.
There is one other hope, although I will fully admit that this is just my madman lunatic ambition. I would love Games Workshop to do a return to the one book to rule them all, and to have just one thick rulebook with the stat of every model in the game, which they might not do a third supplement for if they're going to release that, but that's just my ramblings. I
truly hope you're right.
Well, now that I've been completely and utterly devastated live on camera.
It doesn't mean
the only time this happened before is when Kieran's beaten me several times.
It doesn't mean there's not going to be a source book, but that's how they're saying you'll get the rules.
Well, let's move on to Dave Egan. Dave Egan has put, can't think of a question this week, lads. Too busy finishing painting. See ye Friday. A happy strategy battle gaming. So Dave Egan's going to be in Scotland. Have any of you guys met him before?
No, Jamie has, hasn't he?
I think Jamie might have done.
I think we've talked about this. But no, I haven't.
Look forward to meeting you, buddy.
Indeed.
He's joining.
Next up, we have Mr. Ian Mai, who says, "It is worth knowing that Sean Hunt is not my friend. Wink, he just follows me around." That's a bit like Tom. I will bring some Saga stuff when next in Stockport. Vikings are my calling. Unfortunately, James, I cannot attend the league finale as work is rubbish. God, people are dropping out left, right and centre, aren't
they? I know, put all this effort in.
If you could actually, it's really important if I don't win this tournament, if you could keep it under 34 people, that really helps me. That's really important.
It currently is.
Yeah, well, I mean, I would love that.
I wouldn't.
Buy
your tickets now.
I cannot attend the league finale as work is rubbish and I cannot take time off in September. Sorry. Good enough.
September.
I have some... Yeah, that is weird, isn't it? Sorry, I have some busy months with Christmas and wife has an unfortunately placed birthday in January, so a visit will be paid. Next destination of Stockport presumably is definite. Both myself and Sean will be visiting Stockport before that, as you have both the people in the facility for us to play some different opponents, and they are fantastic people. Banter. Shout out to Finnegan and Stevie C. Where's my shout out? That's a shame.
Yeah, but
I'm in Stockport.
those two are like Tweedledee and Tweedledum.
I'm in Stockport right now.
Do you know what I mean?
I'm one of the fantastic people. Sort it out, Ian.
They're good people and they're doing well with their campaign.
Yeah, it's going very well. There's people posting things all over.
It's good. I'm loving sort of the battle companies down in the south, loving this campaign in the north. There is a War of the Ring campaign down south as well. There's all these little things that are going on, and that was the goal. That was the dream.
That's my goal.
I have a dream. I think I've already used that quote on you once this week. Yeah, shame you can't make it, buddy, but we look forward to seeing you at the next opportunity. Next up, it is Steve C himself, Northwest Hobbit campaign, as he's renamed himself.
I'm very regal.
Did you know that he made a video?
I did. I saw him. Sitting in his garage.
Yeah.
In the den. Where he gets
I know where you
everything.
live, Steve.
He's charismatic and sexy.
He is in the second most watched battle report ever. He's put, so, just wondering, seeing as I've been converting models like crazy for the past couple of weeks, hopefully you've seen my armoured leggy.
I have.
Have you seen it?
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
I've not
Very
seen
good.
that one. Nice leggy.
He has cut up Halbrad with horn. Which I think, isn't it Owen he's really after? It's just going to make people angry. I think he...
Cut up Halbrad with horn?
Yeah.
Does he know how much that's worth?
No, I think he does, and I think he has them, and I think he finds the right models and he just hacks them up and then uses like the wrist to annoy people. But it looks fantastic. So he's got the legs from that, and then the he's got a arm up, hasn't he? Can't think which one it
Steve, man,
is.
but you've got a problem.
It looks great. It looks really, really good.
He cut up a
What's
Halbrad
the
with
most that you've seen that model sell for?
I don't know, I'm not interested in that. I haven't been following it.
I've seen it go for 90 or something.
90? That's stupid.
I mean, the most, I don't know if it's sold for this, but I did once see it on a Buy It Now for 250.
That was actually the
One of
new
the
fine
rares.
class Halbrad that's coming out next week. Boom, satire.
He's put, are there any models you would convert or like to see converted? Models you don't like the poses of, and always wish there was a better Games Workshop version, or models which have a wargear option with no money to represent it.
I have one.
Oh no.
Got Thranduil on an elk.
I'm sure that.
Son's bane on foot.
Your Meraz scenario for the final. If I get the time, I'm going to try and convert the King of the Dead mounted like he is in the film, just on the slim hope that I can win that scenario and get the King of the Dead mounted.
You might do it. That's what it's there for. It's for fun options that have never happened before.
And talking of fun options,
Turns into a bear, kills the horse. Can't use it for the rest of the tournament. I will write a special rule.
Yeah, you better. 'Cause otherwise, I'm on that
The
horse.
FAQ for that scenario is like 10 times longer than the scenario itself.
I mean, that's going to be 10. It's going to be 11 times.
At the last minute it will change to normal, seize the prize.
I'd like another feral sculpt. I always wanted them to be 4. That'd be nice.
4.
Yeah, just a bit more range.
You? Ferals? Really? Other models?
Maybe a new Gandalf.
I wanted an Aemma, like the Pelennor pose on foot that was like cool.
Yeah.
They're a bit static, aren't they? Like the existing ones.
There's a Rohan.
Defenders is probably the best one, but also the highest.
He's very
level.
static.
Yeah.
Yeah, someone trying to charge me a lot of money for him.
Might sound weird. I'd have actually liked more poses for Royal Guard. I know their whole the armour that they wear makes them look very generic anyway, but I'd have liked a few.
Well, I know that it's just an arm, but their arms are quite. You can pose them differently quite easily.
Yeah.
Sort of an overhand and stuff.
I think the range is very well served, generally.
Yeah. Okay, next up we've got the Heresy of Bacon Lad. I love that name. The Heresy of Bacon Lad.
That is a good name. Hi lads, as always thanks for answering my question. A special thank you to James for filming another Speak Friend and Question, Joshua Joy.
Hang on, my gun's in the way of your face.
A special thank you to James for filming another Speak Friend and Question for us to enjoy. Why do only you get thanks? You both did one.
Yeah, Jamie did one as well. And
What's
Jamie,
that about?
to be fair, and it was my fault as well. It was my fault. I mean, Jamie contacted me. He was like, on Thursday, he said, James, we're getting together. I can get to Stockport for 1 o'clock. And I was like, no, mate, I'm busy being famous.
Part time. That happens. You forget the little people.
I know.
I almost fell off my chair with excitement when I noticed it. I tell him that.
It's the cool things the channel bring. I do love it. It's going to sound dead, so I love our channel. I love it. I do love it.
Right.
We do need a couple of days where we can ram up some content the last of a few weeks. But I do love it. We need to get a battle report.
I enjoy it.
It's good, isn't it? It's cool.
I like that it exists in my life.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a random one this week. How do you all feel about peanut butter, Nutella and Oreo cookies? All will become clear at a later date. Cheers, lad. Is this someone in the UK?
Are you coming to a tournament? Are you going to feed us?
You're going to bring us stuff?
I hope you do that on a carb reload day.
Peanut butter, Nutella and Oreo cookies. How do we feel about them?
Like together? I've never had them together.
All mixed together?
I'm not a big peanut butter fan. Emma likes that.
I'm not an Oreo fan.
Well, do you know where you want to go for your Oreos? Supermarket all the time. But go to Byron Burger. Do you have a Byron Burger around here? Is that a thing that's made it up north? I don't know.
No,
it's like a chain. It's like a burger chain.
I've heard of it down south. It's not up here.
Really good, and they do an Oreo milkshake, and it is literally the best thing ever.
Do you know what, if you guys have more time, in fact I might try and do it around the league final. There's a place, I won't name specific area of Stockport, you might know what I'm talking about, down in Stockport called Cockadoodle Moo. And it's like a problem like man versus food place, and it's the kind of place that you go to get fat, really big, and it's like, whoa, yeah, can you eat this burger? And it's like, yeah, I can eat that burger. You know what I mean? That kind of place, and they do an Oreo milkshake. Amazing. And you've got to do it, and the Oreo milkshake itself has got like 3,000 calories.
Yeah, that'll fill you up.
And you're like, yeah, I'll just have the Oreo milkshake like after my 5,000 calorie burger. And it's amazing.
That for me is a perfect, like, really, really nice night.
I think Oreos as a biscuit were designed so that they could be made into a milkshake.
You have to make milk, don't you? It must have come from that. The whole idea. It would go Oreos, Nutella, peanut butter for me.
I've used peanut butter from a healthy point of view for bulking before.
It's quite good for you, isn't it? Like,
well, if you want to give your muscles calorific support, then yeah, because it's got tons of protein and some good fats and stuff like that. So if you're trying to get bigger, then peanut butter's good. Mind you, all of those will do for bulking.
Also, Oreos are a different category. Like your Nutellas and your peanut butters, they're in your kind of spreads.
It's a spread.
Yeah, Oreos are a biscuit.
I think he's planning something.
Yeah.
I'm thinking Oreo.
There's definitely a formula at work there, isn't there?
Oreo, Nutella, peanut butter, Oreo, sandwich.
So planning for the future, I'm going to say I feel about them Nutella and Oreo cookie, please.
I'm game, just, you know.
But I'm always up for free food.
And I just love your name. You must be planning something called the Heresy of Bacon.
Put bacon in it.
Yeah, wrap them in bacon, it will work. It'll work. So next up we've got Who Else But Howdy.
I'm going to have to quickly bow. This stuff really does go through it.
Part timer. Don't be on camera.
Is it me?
Oh yeah.
Oh my god.
That's getting edited!
That might be alright.
I don't know, that won't be. I've got to take
The full word wasn't there. You said bowling. Bowling down here where we've been bowling.
Bowling glasses. That's never good.
Who Else But Howdy says, do you guys think that we will be getting new profiles for Thranduil, Legolas and Tariel? Seems like we're going to get some new Wargear editions at the bare minimum, but do you guys have any speculations about what a new profile for each of them could be? Oh, and good luck prepping your Isengard army, James. I hope it turns out well. It really, really didn't. It's not gone well, is it?
It's not finished.
It's still on the table.
Yeah, I'll be up late tonight. What time is it now? All my days.
It's early.
Do you reckon I'll get some time on Friday night, Sterling?
Yeah, you could do. If you take your mates and stuff, yeah. We'll get up there fairly early.
I think that we will.
Oh, it's nice, actually. You spread out.
Yeah.
Lock the door. So yeah.
What do we think? Well, I've heard a rumour that Tariel is named Exile of Mirkwood.
They've all got new names.
Well, they all got new names.
Legolas is Prince of Mirkwood, Thranduil is King of the Woodland Realm, I think, and Tariel is Mirkwood Exile.
How interesting.
Indeed. You're going to hear a great planter about it. I don't know, it's like, it's all... You haven't, but...
I've not seen it
They
yet.
probably will have heard it.
I wish I'd have seen it because I'd have watched that while I was painting for the 2 hours today.
Watch it later. I'll look over you and say, did you enjoy that? Did you enjoy that?
I'll come and knock on the spare bedroom at
I'll do
4
it
in the
live.
morning.
I'll give you a director's commentary.
It's gone. That'd be awesome.
So yeah, what do you think? Do you think they get new profiles?
Well, you just told me that they are, so...
No, I don't. We don't know.
Well, based on the name changes, yeah. But I wouldn't have expected it for Thranduil or Legolas. I can kind of understand with Tariel because I'm expecting her.
They both need a horse.
Hmm?
They're both Legolas. No, Legolas has got a horse. Thranduil's on a horse, isn't he?
Yeah.
So he needs.
But I thought that it would just be, you know, a like little errata-y kind of note where it would say, can have horse.
I heard somewhere.
Can have Orcris.
This is new. This wasn't implanted. I read somewhere recently from someone saying you heard it here first, and it could be nonsense. That Thranduil's got a rule like the Elven twins, like he gets +1 attack or something like that. I read that somewhere.
What was the source?
I can't remember. It's on one of the threads on one of the forums somewhere.
I noticed that. Yeah.
So that he would have a new rule.
Legolas decided to be dead comfy.
Legolas gets Orcris and becomes a beast. But what we were talking about, just to get your opinions on it, we were saying maybe you can't just give Legolas Orcris, so maybe the point is you give him Orcris but he doesn't get his auto hit or something. So he becomes a different kind of hero, a bit like
Hobbit,
yeah. That's what we were discussing.
Interesting.
Yeah. That'd be pretty cool.
And my thought for Tariel, and there'd have to be a good reason, you'd have to have a good special rule for her, was that she'll be an independent hero. Because according to all the fluff, all the rumours, she doesn't fight with the elves. Like that's why Thranduil breaks her bow and stuff. That she goes off and fights alongside the dwarves. But then you'd need a good special rule, as if she's not good enough, to compensate for that, the fact she can lead troops.
I think she'll also be down on fate, and I think she'll
That's
be.
not helping, is it?
I think she's going to be weaker and cheaper.
Maybe I pointed that.
I think she'll be weaker and cheaper. I think Legolas will be more combat-y and more expensive. And Thranduil is a really interesting one.
Gives Killy rerolls, maybe?
Higher armour, defense 6, defense 7?
Unmounted.
Yeah, no. Massive horse.
So,
as if
the
those
cheap
wood elves needed anything.
Rivendell on the cheap, Elrond on the cheap run.
Oh, Elrond?
Well, Elrond's got Nature's Wrath. If Thranduil's mounted in heavy armour, he can do that.
Oh, I see, yeah.
Now,
So yes, I do think they will have new profiles, because the answer to that.
and I agree with Damian. This question is clearly directed at the fact that I did tell our audience that you were going to be in this
really?
question. It's Jurassic Park related.
Jurassic
At
Park
this
related
point,
question?
strategic we.
How exciting. This is Larry, yeah?
It's Larry Miller.
On the
Do you know
subject.
what? I just want to say on camera, I really like Larry.
No, he's a lovely guy.
He's a lovely dude, and he always comes up with the best situations and questions and stuff.
Quick shout, the Battle Companies thing that me and Myrtle have been working on, Larry has done some really sterling work in terms of organising the spreadsheets, the statistics and all that kind of thing.
Right, for Larry.
Yeah.
Well,
thanks,
Larry.
man.
Yeah, well, he's certainly preferable to that guy. Larry says, on the subject of where to visit in Middle Earth, I'd pick Erebor, good choice. After either pre-Smaug or post-Hobbit. Oh yeah, you don't want it full of, dragon poo.
I don't see many people picking it post-Smaug.
No, there's a
Mind you, Unguarded Gold, I guess.
There's a dragon in there. As not only does it look spectacular and like a cool place to explore, but judging on how they act in The Hobbit, Dwarven hospitality looks like it would be great. This week a question for your special guest. What does Damian think of the Jurassic Park sequels? Also, James, I resent you that email. I resent it's resent.
Resent your email.
It says resent, but he means I resent you that email. Just so you'll hopefully get a chance to look at it at some point.
What's happened?
Larry resents your email, but in fact he actually resent your email. We realised.
Oh.
And hopefully you get a chance to look at some point. Hopefully it's not too late for this week. It's not too late for this week. What do I think of Jurassic Park sequels? I don't actually know if I am in the minority on this. I think a lot of people think this. I didn't like the second one because the second one, the Lost World Jurassic Park, replaced all the tension of the first one with slaughtering extras. There's loads of people that you don't get to know who just get slaughtered by dinosaurs.
Yeah.
You don't get to know characters. And the third act, where they go to San Diego, was a change. It's very Peter Jackson. It was changed about 2 months before they were going to film it because Steven Spielberg had a dream about a T-Rex drinking from a swimming pool, and they changed the entire ending of the film to put that bit in, so you could have a T-Rex drinking from a swimming pool. So I don't like Lost World Jurassic Park, but I do quite enjoy Jurassic Park 3.
Which one's the one with the dinosaur that kills the T-Rex?
It's Jurassic Park 3. And crucially, Jurassic Park 3 has Dr. Alan Grant in it again. So instantly raises it up for my...
the character that carries it.
Yeah, absolutely. Hero of the world. And he... they also have the really good scene in the aviary, which is kind of taken from the first Jurassic Park book. So I quite like the third one. I think the third one's better, and then it goes back to a smaller set of characters again. Yeah. And I'm very excited about the new one.
Do you know
the new
what?
one's going to be great.
I really like the most out of all of them.
The first one?
Watching the first one with Damian. Charge the battery pack. It's still recording.
The first one is infinitely better than the other two. Infinitely.
Yeah, really.
But yeah, I do quite like the third one, and I don't mind the second one. But the first one is king of Jurassic Parks. But yeah, I am very excited about Jurassic Park World, of which there is a trailer out in about a week. There's a countdown on the website.
Ooh.
So thank you for that, Larry. Thanks.
What movie is that going to be trailer?
It's rumoured to be on The Hobbit. And do you know the Star Wars trailer's on The Hobbit? Supposedly. That was a rumour. It could be literally best cinema experience
Best geek fest, trailer fest ever.
And he asked something to do with where to visit Middle Earth, and I would pick Minas Tirith for that.
Where to visit? I think we've answered that a few times. I've always said Rivendell.
See, I'm torn. For me, it's either Rivendell or Rohan.
The whole of Rohan.
I think
Yeah,
Rohan
Rohan.
would smell.
Like a country. Yeah.
Walking tour, because that makes sense in like Land of the Horsemen.
Right.
It's because it's on charge.
That makes it brighter.
Yep. Ta-da. Wow. Yeah.
So yeah.
Good one, Larry. Thanks very much for that. Next up, we've got Barry. Hang on a minute. Rewind. Tandoori Barry O'Neill. He's put, hey guys, hope I'm not too late with the question, but just wondering what you guys think of the upcoming Mirkwood releases that we're getting, and are you optimistic for the rest of the releases, considering that Thranduil's hasn't an elk and the Warriors are in fine cast packs? We may have talked about
this. That's my answer. You might want to clarify this, that for next week, have a look at the questions. The first person who asks about whatever gets released next week, then can that after that.
Yeah, I think after a week that this is already going to be like a speak friend question FAQ. What do you think of the Battle of Five Armies releases?
Yeah. It's good. The most positive thing about it though is that how many elves you got for 1 week. That's the good thing. If you want to put the most positive spin I can put on it, is that means next week there's hopefully going to be that many orcs, and the week after that many dwarfs.
Mm-hmm.
So that's quite good. There are more elvish releases than I was expecting.
Are we going to get a Snog? What's your genuine opinion?
A month ago I would have said yes. I would have said you would have got a plastic kit. Now, with everything looking like it's in fine cast and there being a small supplement in White Dwarf, I'm now thinking no.
Which should be insane.
It would be insane. But maybe this is what I mean. This is just the first week, and they did fine cast elves. Maybe next week we'll get plastic goat riders, and suddenly it's like, oh, okay, so they are doing some plastic stuff. If they do that, if it's a White Dwarf supplement, the whole White Dwarf is dedicated to the Hobbit. That's plenty. The Desolation Smell book's 48 pages, isn't it?
Yeah.
Or is it 64? But no, it's not a lot. And if you get rid of the hobby stuff, 32 pages of White Dwarf is plenty.
Yeah.
I don't know. It worries me, but it's not the end of the world.
We'll keep our fingers crossed. You know how we feel about it, Barry. Next up, we've got Dr. Dan.
And Dr. Dan says, hi guys, you all seem very keen on the Saga stuff. And interested in
By
that sort
all,
of...
you mean me and Jamie.
And interested in that sort of era. I was wondering if any of you have read any of Bernard Cornwell's Saxon Warrior Chronicles. I would highly recommend if you want a bit more background inspiration of the era. The book series has also just been picked up for the BBC, but as always you cannot beat the books from the same author as Sharp, but more violent. So we might see the next Sean Bean. Read more. Thank you. Also, James.
Hello.
My pet hate is a metal Rohan model on a plastic rearing horse,
Oh, God, yeah.
aka Erkenbrand. Because I always find this a time bomb for a broken horse leg. Any tips on how to stop this / best ways to support the leg? All the best. Dan.
Well, in terms of the Bernard Cornwall's Saxon Warrior Chronicles, it's actually like I did a lot of when I worked for the previous company, a lot of short travelling down to London, take classes, travelling around the country, and I found that although I like music, that music wouldn't keep me engaged when I was driving sort of 6 hours, 5 hours, 4 hours. So I started listening to lots of Radio 4 and Radio 5 Live. When you get done in with arguing with the radio for periods of time, the audiobooks are fantastic. There are some really, really good audiobooks out there. I would highly recommend 1984 as an audiobook, by the way, because it is absolutely chilling.
It's a great book, yeah.
It's a fantastic book, but the audiobook just kills it.
I have a question. We'll finish this. What would be in your room 101?
That's a really good question. We'll
Damn
come
right.
to that. Okay. So, and I had the first experience of it. I mean, I've read most of Bernard Cornwall's Sharp books. Was a big fan of Sharp sort of growing up.
Yeah, same.
Really, really enjoyed those.
Apart
And the
from
series.
Sharp's Waterloo.
What, the movie or the book?
The TV.
The TV was
Yeah.
Where the battle is this big.
Yeah, it's a little bit small scale. The
We-
movie, coincidentally, the movie Waterloo.
Oh,
It's
the movie
absolutely
was
fantastic.
amazing.
That was on my Christmas list a couple of Christmases ago, and I got it on DVD. And I was like, yeah, it's a movie that I need on DVD. I used to watch. We had I think it might have been the Dad's Army movie, and I can't remember who, it was like the Cinema Club or something was obviously the backer of producing this as a video, and in the advert you had Waterloo was one of the, as well as a Man for All Seasons or whatever, which is a Henry VIII movie, I think. And I used to watch that trailer over and over again for Waterloo because I was really into my Napoleonic history and Sharp and everything. So yeah, big fan of that and big fan of Bernard Cornwall, a lot of his stuff. And the audiobook is very, very good, but in terms of reading the actual books, I haven't got round to it, and it is actually the Christmas present I've asked for this year. The Anglo-Saxon Warrior Chronicles from Bernard Cornwall.
I've actually got those sitting on my shelf at home, but I haven't got around to them yet because I've got a backlog of books that I need to slowly read my way through. Deciding to reread The Lord of the Rings kind of put a big setback on everything I had pending.
I do that every now and again. I've currently just reread The Fellowship of the Ring. It happens. He's put also, James, my pet hate is the metal models on plastic. Yeah, that's a nightmare. The thing I would recommend is getting yourself a metal horse. That's always helpful.
Another way is, you know how on your plastic
Yeah.
horse's kit you get that little tuft of grass sticking up? You can position the horse, or cut the bottom of the grass away and position it so that that's actually supporting the stray hoof. So instead of having one point of contact, you've got two.
For my all my riders Rohan that I've got, well not all of them, but a bunch of them have got rocks that are made out of little bits of cork bark that are then painted as rocks, and it looks like the horses then leap rather than rearing up. It looks like it's leaping over that rock. And anyway, you see a cool looking rock when I ride as a Rohan, it's because that horse has at one point had a snapped leg. And then that's a really good way because then you get the two back hooves and the two front hooves glued down. So that works quite well.
Yeah, that can work quite
Put a
well.
little stone on there or something.
I know that something I've thought about before is that there's quite a few Theodens knocking around with the metal horses. I know that they're armoured horses, but using them for the likes of Erkenbrand, which is quite a heavy metal model.
Oh, for
that
hero
doesn't fit
horses,
on there. Yeah. So it's just for the metal on. I can understand what he means about sort of the pet hate of the metal hero on a plastic horse. Erkenbrand has been a nightmare because no matter how you kind of pose it, he ends up snapping.
It's never the weight for me, it's the fact that it comes off.
Yeah.
The metal hero will come off the plastic horse.
Yeah, it doesn't
It
bind particularly.
does not the surface areas that touches quite small.
That's
You can
right.
also pin them, that's quite good.
Yeah.
Yeah, paper clip, drill through, like glue the hoof in, the hoof will be glued to the base, drill straight through that down the base, put a paper clip in it, and drill up into the leg, and then glue it on. Now hold it in place.
And another good tip, so lots and lots of good tips, is Steve Crow introduced me to an accelerant plus glue. So if you carry this with you to tournaments, because inevitably if you have cavalry and you've got plastic horses, you will have broken ankles at some point during the tournament, and you will have to ask your opponent, Oakenbrand is here, he's there, you can see him, but I'd rather not just put him there, may I use this just for this game while Oakenbrand glues, is to get yourself a super glue that comes with an accelerant. So I've got like a mitre one in there, and what that means is that you put the glue on one side, you put the accelerant on the other, you stick it on, you do the accelerant, and it instantly binds, instantly and strong.
It's like putting water on, isn't it? Just less mess.
Does that do that with normal super glue?
Yeah, if you put that's what often happens to super glue. When it dries up, it's often because you put it near something wet, like, and it's done that. But yeah, if you want to glue something hard, if you chuck water at it, it solidifies, but it makes a terrible mess. It all goes kind of white and bubbly.
Yeah.
So if you're going to kind of glue stuff over it or paint over it, it's alright. You wouldn't want to do it to a painted model to fix it. But yeah, just chucking normal water and it'll do that.
Interesting. Right, okay, so that brings us down to our final question. And this one's for you to read, Damian. It's from Jonathan Punchon,
who says, it's great that you've gone into Saga. A few guys at my local club have also got into it, and I've always wanted to give it a go. They play it in 15mm though, instead of the 26mm it's made of. My question is, would you ever play games in a smaller scale than SBG?
Well, again, you're the person to have here because you have played lots of war games.
Yeah, I likes me some War Master. I'm a big fan of War Master, which is 10mm. And if you're at all interested in Lord of the Rings, they did a one-box set called The Battle of Five Armies, which was everything. It's like the opposite of what they're doing now. Everything you need for the Battle of Five Armies in one box, using War Master rules, which is really cool. Yeah, I love War Master. I really like War Master. I've got High Elf and Undead armies painted with more to paint, which I'm hoping to do something.
That Bretonnian army.
I should have bought that Bretonnian.
You should listen to me, not
I shouldn't have bought that Bretonnian. This was a Selwig when I was holding a 2,000 point painted Bretonnian army, and it was at 170 quid.
Something like that, yeah.
And I was standing there, and James was going, buy it.
Why
and
wouldn't
then
you?
Jamie and Tom went, don't buy it.
Give in to the temptation.
Yeah. But I didn't buy it, and I shouldn't have bought it. I don't regret that. But I love War Master. I think War Master's brilliant. Just when you see the whole army's laid out, and a forest looks like a forest.
Yeah.
Like it's big enough and it's got enough trees that actually then the river's little stream that I've got for SBG becomes a roaring river. I absolutely love it. War Master's a great system. So yes, I'm
I'm looking
big
forward
fan
to you
of that.
teaching me at some point, which would be nice. We can do like a let's try.
You should be running out.
Let's try Tuesday. So that brings us to the end of this week's Speak Friendly Question. Hope you've all enjoyed it. It's been a massively long edition.
That's what happens when you've got 3 people.
Yes, and you've got a Palantir host here.
Yeah, that's what happens when you get 3 people talking with a gobby hop. Imagine Tom and Jamie doing theirs. It's in a
15 minutes long.
No.
Can you imagine?
No.
Can you imagine? It'd be an awful content.
I think it'd be beautiful. It'd be like that kind of like that shot to the arm that you need sometimes.
Do you know what it'd be like? It'd be like 2 cherubs giving Charles handshakes to each other.
2 cherubs? Why would they be
Yeah,
cherubs?
I've got no idea, but like, you know what I mean.
I know what a child.
Can I just say that the last time that I shook Charles's hand, he gave me a good firm handshake.
I can't. Why are Tom and Jamie cherubs?
I was thinking of like sort of quiet.
You're not going to be able to get that
Influence.
in
It's all
the
like
niceness.
sheet over them with little wings.
Yeah.
I'd pay to see that. I want to.
There are places in Soho,
I
not far
want
from
that
where you
video.
live.
I want Tom and Jamie dressed as cherubs doing a short speak friendly question, please.
I reckon that video will be at least 15 minutes long.
Which do you want more? More releases for The Hobbit or that?
That instantly. I'll call it a day with the Hobbit. Once you've seen that video, your life's over. That's there.
If you want to make it happen, make sure that you comment below. It's very important. Everything happens below. When you want something, we will try and do it. So guys, this has been GBHL James.
And GBHL Damian.
With special guest
Kieran Street.
Remember what we said about introducing yourself.
You introduced me.
Make sure as always that you comment, like, share and subscribe.
Follow us.
Support your Hobbit hobby.
Follow us on Twitter and like us on Facebook.
Yeah, with our new fan page. How are you finding that, guys?
I just basically search GBHL podcast in the search bar in Facebook, and then it comes up.
And how are you finding it in terms of how it is?
Yeah, it's great.
It's good. It's a really, really good way of us driving up the views of old videos. But also getting you guys involved in future competitions, etc. So make sure you do like that page. So as always, guys, happy strategy battle gaming. Ball.